Hey everybody, it's me Stacey at Scrapbooking Made Simple here with another YouTube demo for you today. I'm really excited to be bringing you some new product from Sizzix and Stephanie Barnard. She is the Sizzix spokesperson and one of their designers, and she has done 6 new sets of framelits with matching stamps. They're really cute. I just think they're darling. And what I love most is that they have actually made improvements to the framelits dies, which I didn't think was possible. If you remember last year, I did a YouTube on the framelits when they were first introduced, showing you how and why to use them and how they differ from some of the other manufacturers' dies, because you cut exactly what you see with a framelits die. There's no worrying about centering or lining things up. If you see it, you cut it. So they've done some additions to them, and I can't wait to show you. So we are going to go ahead and tilt on down and get started for today. Okay? Bye. Down we go. All right, how does that look? So what I have here is one of Stephanie's sets, and this is the kite set, and it has the framelit dies and the matching clear stamps all in one package. Now, for those of you, just a quick remembrance of what our framelit is. It's a wafer thin die. It's a chemically etched die, so it's a little different than the Sizzix steel rule dies, which are the thick dies, or a Sizzlet die. This is a chemically etched die, and the cutting edge is right there on the inside edge of this die. Can you see that little lip right here? That's the cutting edge. So if I was to turn the die this way, it's completely flat. There's no cutting edge there, and if you put that against your paper, it's not going to do anything. You need to have this little cutting edge right against your paper. Now, because the cutting edge is on the inside edge of the die, what you see is what you cut. So if I grabbed a sheet of paper and I wanted to make sure that I had this big stripe right in the center, I would center it up, and what I see is what I cut exactly. It's going to cut right along this edge, which makes them very nice in comparison to some of the other manufacturers where their cutting edge is centered in between the two outside edges of the die. And therefore, if you want to make sure you're lined up and centered, it can be done, but it's a little more difficult. Ellison made it really easy. If you see it, you're cutting it. So that's what a framelit is. Now, how did they improve upon it? Well, they came out with dies that are a little more intricate, a little bit more frame-like. This is going to cut the kite frame. This is the base of the kite, the outside of the kite, and this would be then sitting on top to make the detail of the kite. Now, this die has 2 cutting edges, one on this edge and one on the inside, and what you're going to end up cutting is this beautiful frame. But that means there's a lot of channel work in here, and we all know, or some of us know, that with some of the other manufacturers' dies, when you're dealing with frame dies or thinner dies, where the paper is a little bit narrow in the width, the paper can actually get stuck inside the die. Now, I have a spellbinder die, and we love spellbinders. We sell spellbinders. They're wonderful dies, but I want to show you the difference. See how the paper actually sticks inside that die after I've cut it. Now, the channel work of the die is very similar. This is about the same width as what's in there, but when you cut it, it doesn't just pop right out or fall right out. You need to take a little pokey tool and get in there and then pull the paper out, which is fine, but Ellison made it easier for you by putting injection foam right in that channel so there's nothing for the paper to stick into. And I'm going to cut it for you and show you. So I have got, of course, my Sizzix Big Shot machine, which is our die cutting machine of choice here at Scrapbooking Made Simple. And I have got my multi-purpose platform here. And if you recall, I said a framelit is a wafer die. On the top of your multi-purpose platform, it says wafer thin die. That means you're going to keep your platform completely closed when you use it. I'm going to go ahead and put it in, take one of my clear plates, put it down, put my die down, paper, and then one more clear plate to make my sandwich. and I'm going to roll it on through. Oh, holy smokes, did you see that? I didn't even get it out, and the die has already lifted onto my clear plate. No sticking into the channels at all. Did you see the difference? This came right off because that injection foam is inside the channel of the die so that the paper can't get stuck in there, versus another wafer type of die where the paper does get stuck because there is no injection foam. And you just take a little pokey tool and you got to get in there and then pull it out. But the more intricate the die is, the more of a chance you have of tearing the paper. This is awesome. This is phenomenal. I love it. They made it so user-friendly for you. Sizzix and Stephanie Barnard did. They did a great job. Then I just push these on out and we're done. I've got part of my kite right there. Easy peasy. Now, what Stephanie also did is she made the stamps to match. So I've got a stamp right here that's going to match my frame kite. And her stamps are beautifully made. They're clear, they cling onto your acrylic block, and today we're using the Tim Holtz grid blocks. Let me tell you, if you need a set of blocks, the grid blocks are the best out there. You get 8 or 9 blocks, I think, for $21. They're thin, they've got the grid right on them to line it up. They're easy to use, they don't take up a lot of space. So I'm going to mount my stamp right onto my block by Tim Holtz. My Stephanie Barnard stamp onto my Tim Holtz block. And again, if you're not familiar with clear stamps, this will come off and on as many times as I want. And if it stops being sticky, just take a little bit of Dawn dishwashing detergent and wash your stamp and wash your block and let it dry, and then you'll find that the sticky comes right back, the cling comes right back. So I'm going to take my Memento ink, because you know that's the ink we love most here. I'm going to ink up my stamp. And because it's a clear stamp, you know what, I'm going to do it right on this. Because it's a clear stamp, you can see where you're lining up. So I've got my die cut right here. I'm going to line up my stamp to my die. Give it a nice little push. Not too hard, not too soft, just a nice little push. And call it done. I've now put the markings onto my kite. So what does this look like when it's all done? Well, we've done a card for you using Stephanie's stamps. We did the base of the kite, which is the polka dot in the back. That's this die right here. Then the frame of the kite, which is this die right here, which is here. And then we took the stamp and stamped right on top. And this stamp comes with all the words. The kite comes with the words. And what's cute is that she also gave you the stamps to go with the little pieces that come out of the kite. So you could stamp all of these little pieces that I had that came out to do cute little designs and have them pop up off your kite. So together you've got clouds and you've got the kites, you've even got the little bows off the bottom of the kite, plus all the words, all in one set. We think they're fabulous, I love them. And what I love most is the injection foam, because you saw how easy that just came right off versus the paper getting stuck inside the channel and then having to work it on out with either a pokey tool. Tim Holtz has a pokey tool that we sell to get in there and try and poke it out, but you always run the risk of it tearing versus it just came right off because of that injection foam. Okay, now I have a few other cards that I want to show you. And it's using her cupcake. Let me move this out of the way. It's using her cupcake set, which we used as a make and take last week. And here's the cupcake set. So you've got the stamps and you've got the dies. And again, you've got the injection foam on this die right here. And that would be because it is a frame die. And that injection foam cuts this piece right here, a frame, where this piece right around it cuts the solid. So let me show you. This back piece here was cut with this solid, and this die with the injection foam cut the cute little frosting piece on the top. Isn't that a cute card? We did with this one a flip up. And I want to show you how to do that really quick because it's very, very, very simple. Taking the solid piece and making a flip up. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to move these to the side and I'll show you those in just a minute. But what I have here is the solid cupcake top, which is this piece right here, all the way around. I've taken that out and I've taken a piece of paper and I have scored it in half. So I've scored it in half. Easy peasy. Then I've got my cupcake die, and I want my cupcake to flip up, just like this one does. It flips up. I'm going to take my die, and I'm going to slightly hold it off the top. Can you see how I'm slightly holding it off the top, the cutting edge, so that the scored side here does not go all the way to the cutting blade. It's slightly held off the top. You want to make sure that you hold it a little off the top. Now I could hold it a lot off the top and I'd only have a little piece this big, but slightly off the top. That way that scored edge is not going to be cut by this back piece here. All right, so let's get our trusty dusty Big Shot. And let's go ahead and move it on over. I have got my multi-purpose platform again. I've got my one clear cutting pad. I have got my die. I've got my paper, again with a scored edge. I've got my paper with a scored edge. And I'm going to slightly hold it off the top of the die so that the entire die does not cut through the paper. And then my clear plate. And we'll send it on through. Now this die doesn't need the injection foam because this is a solid shaped die. And the die will just pop right out. The die cut will just pop right out. Now, because I held it off the edge and it didn't cut right there, that's where my score mark is, that's where my scoring is, so it can flip. And then I have the cute little piece here that just fits right over it, so it will flip. Okay, very, very easy to do. And I want to show you another card that we did for the make and take, which was scrap lifted from Stephanie's blog. Cute card, huh? And we did the exact same thing. We took a framelit die and we scored a piece of paper and we held the die off the edge of we held the paper off the edge of the die so that it created a card. And I'm going to do that one real quick for you too. I'm going to use my square framelit right here. I have got a piece of paper here that I have pre-scored. So now it's done. I'm going to hold the scored edge again off the final edge of the die, so it's not going to cut the scallops. I'm going to hold it off. And I'm going to make a card that size. So back over with our Big Shot machine. And we're still using a wafer die because it's still a framelit. So you're going to keep your multi-purpose platform completely closed. I'm going to put my die down. I'm going to lay my paper down, and I'm not going to cover up the entire die. I'm going to keep that scored edge below the final edge of that die so it doesn't cut it. I'm going to send it on through. And can you see how I've held it off? I've now made a card. Either way. Cute, huh? And easy. That's how easy the framelits are. And with the new injection foam that they've done, the die cut just comes right out, doesn't get stuck in that channel at all. So, what did we learn today? We learned that we have framelit dies, new framelit dies by Stephanie Barnard that have the matching clear stamp sets. She's got 6 new sets here available. We learned that on a frame or a die that's going to cut a frame, Sizzix has put the injection foam right there for you so that the paper does not get stuck inside the channel. This one happens to be a spellbinder die, and again, the paper tends to get stuck. You got to put a pokey in there and pull it on out. But with a framelit die, the injection foam is inside the frame. No chance for it to get stuck in there. It just comes right off. Show you the rest of Stephanie's sets. We've got the butterfly and the dragonfly. We learned that Stephanie's sets come with the clear stamps, and the clear stamps go right onto any block that you have. We happen to love the Tim Holtz blocks because they're thin and they've got a nice grid on them. You get, I think, 8 or 9 blocks for $21.95, and you would never need to buy another block set again. It covers everything. Her stamps are really high quality. They do a beautiful job, and because they're clear, you're able to just line the stamp right up to the die cut you did and finish it right off and add some detail and some dimension. We have learned that if you are going to cut a card or a pop, you're going to take your die after you've taken a piece of scored paper, and you're going to hold that scored edge just a little bit off the top of the die so it doesn't cut the whole thing, so that you create your own flip card. Okay, and that we like our Memento ink because Memento ink, of course, is an all-purpose great ink. It allows you to use Copics, not use Copics. It's really up to you. So I hope we have learned something today. I'm going to scroll on up and say thanks so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next week, where we're going to be doing another YouTube, and this time I have got, this is the card we're going to be making. It uses just right stamps, and that's what we're going to be focusing on next time, okay? So I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, you guys. Oh, and all of the Stephanie Barnard stamps will be on sale for 1 week after the date of this loading, the 1 week that follows the original date of this loading. They'll be on sale for 15% off at scrapbooking-made-simple.com. And shipping, of course, for these dies will be free for any order over $50, okay? So we'll see you soon, and thanks so much for watching. Bye.